Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. And today I'm going to go over some news and rumors specifically about AEW, where there has been rumors speculating that a certain AEW superstar and a former AEW Women's Champion might be on their way to WWE. Now, a couple of things that I have gathered about this. Number one, this superstar that everybody's been talking about is none other than Mariah May. Now, if you guys don't know who Mariah May is, she's a former AEW Women's Champion. She had a great storyline and matches with Toni Storm. We had the Hollywood ending match that took place March 9th at Revolution, which seemingly was Mariah May's last televised match that we've seen so far in AEW. It looked like she took some time off after that matchup. Now, since that matchup, like I said, we have not seen Mariah May on television, on Dynamite or Collision, or anything with AEW since March 9th, when she was unsuccessful in defending the title, where she lost the AEW Women's Championship against Toni Storm in a Hollywood ending matchup at Revolution. Now, there's been a lot of speculation going on about Mariah May's contract. Now, there was news that came out that Mariah May's contract is, in fact, coming up sometime within the summer. It could be May, June, July, August, somewhere around that time in the summer where her contract does come up and does expire with AEW. There's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of people, even within AEW and AEW officials, stating that Mariah May seemingly looks like she's on her way to WWE and that she is WWE bound. And then you see Mariah May's Instagram, and she's been putting out these little, cryptic messages, if you will, about, maybe this is something that she was destined to do, or, destined place to go, and everything else like that. So it's been like these little tiny cryptic messages where people are trying to contemplate really what's going on, and there's conspiracy theorists out there trying to really figure out whether she's going to re-sign with AEW or actually join WWE. This is my thought process with Mariah May. Number one, Mariah May, by far, is one of the biggest stars AEW has had, especially in the female roster of AEW, hands down. The matches that she had with Toni Storm, that storyline that she had with Toni Storm, is one of the best, if not the best female storyline that we've seen in AEW as far as the women's side of AEW ever. They've had 3 great matches ending with the, Hollywood ending. And again, hats off to Toni Storm. Toni Storm really was putting Mariah May over in a lot of those matches and in that storyline. And she became a huge superstar, a huge draw for AEW. People loved to hate her or loved to root for her, and she was a big, big star in AEW. And again, we have not seen Mariah May since March 9th at Revolution, where, like I mentioned earlier, she was unsuccessful in retaining the AEW Women's Championship, where she lost the belt to Toni Storm. My thing with Mariah May is this. This is something that, I have mentioned to you guys about AEW for quite some time. And this is something where, obviously nothing's set in stone yet. As far as if she is going to WWE, there's been a lot of speculations and rumors suggesting that she is going over to WWE. My thing is this. If Mariah May, and Mariah May's very young in the game. She's 26 years old. She still has a lot of time left in professional wrestling. A lot of time left. If, in fact, Mariah May does happen to go over to WWE, this is another, I would say, not a gut punch to AEW, but this is something where this has to bring in AEW fans, AEW sickos. This has to bring them to attention at this point. And I told you guys before, AEW is going to slowly start losing talent where they can't rebound from it anymore because they cannot build up the younger talent. They just can't. Losing someone like Mariah May in a women's roster right now that is just, it's not hitting, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, you got your Chris Statlanders, you got your Thunder Roses, you got your Willow Nightingales, you got your Marina Shaffirs, Julia Hart, Mercedes Moné, Britt Baker, if you want to throw her into the mix. Toni Storm, obviously. There's not a lot of other names besides Toni Storm right now that's really keeping the women's roster on AEW alive besides maybe Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné. Yes, you got Megan Bayne, and she's on the up and up. But besides that, there's really not a lot of spotlight on the women's roster right now in AEW besides the names of Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné. Losing someone like Mariah May, it is a big deal. It's a huge deal, and it's a slap in the face to AEW fans. The fact that Tony Khan could not find anything else for Mariah May to do. They brought her to the pinnacle. with Toni Storm. She had that title reign, and then Toni Storm ended up beating her for the AEW Women's Championship, and now we have not seen anything about Mariah May since March 9th. No rebuttal, nothing, not a next matchup, nothing. We've already went through one pay-per-view already with Dynasty without even seeing Mariah May. There hasn't been a vignette, nothing of Mariah May. Which is, again, if you're a conspiracy theorist, it has cause for concern. Because if you look at the narrative with certain AEW releases, a lot of times, we don't see these people on TV for quite some time. And a lot of people, even that I talk to, are speculating that this might be the same thing with Mariah May, where we might not see her on TV, and she might just end up leaving AEW and going over to WWE. It very much could happen. But I will tell you this, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and this is something that I've been stressing to you guys now for the past couple months, where you're going to have certain names in AEW, bro, that are going to leave. It's bound to happen. And I mentioned, some of those names. I mentioned, MJF. Losing, especially someone like MJF. You lose someone like MJF, it's game over. And it's not me, praising MJF as, he's the only guy that keeps AEW's doors, going right now. But you lose someone like MJF, especially going over to WWE, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a really severe gut punch to AEW. And a lot of the fans that are in AEW right now are going definitely to be flocking over to WWE to figure out what's going on with MJF and how they're going to present MJF on WWE television. It's only a matter of time, bro. There's nothing, even with the situation with MJF, there's really nothing else left for that guy to do in AEW. He was the longest reigning AEW champion, multi-time Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal winner. He hasn't held the TNT title or anything else like that, but he's held the Continental Championship and stuff like that. And he wants to go back after the Triple B, which, that's pretty much the end-all, be-all for MJF in AEW at that point. It's a problem. This is a huge problem. And this is something that, again, for the AEW sickos out there that, are pro-AEW, you need to look at the narrative, bro. You need to look at the fact that this is not a business. This is not a wrestling company, man. This company is falling flat on their ass right now. And they're losing, top talent in this company. And they're going over to WWE, where everybody calls it the dark side over there. Well, they're going over there. You've already lost, abundance of people already, from, Ricky Starks to Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. Aleister Black is going back over. You lost Miro. He's on his way back to WWE. Ricky Starks left. Penta, Rey Fenix, Jade Cargo. You lost some decent names to seemingly what is AEW's competitor in WWE. So, you're going to start losing more names with their contracts coming up. It's bound to happen, bro. There's been rumors of speculation that Chris Jericho might even entertain the idea of going back to WWE. And if he does, see you later. I don't think Jericho's a huge loss for AEW, but again, it's another loss for your roster. Tony Khan and AEW don't know how to build up younger stars. They just don't. And because of that, you're bringing in veterans from WWE that are 50-some-odd years old or 50 years plus, trying to bring some lifeblood back into this company, and it's not working. And I have all the respect in the world for Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, but you can't expect both these guys to carry AEW on their back and make it successful. You just can't, to be honest. You also have Wardlow, also possibly on his way out of AEW, which I mentioned that, quite some, a bunch of times, that he might be on the hot track as well to leave AEW and go over to WWE, just like Ricky Starks. A lot of these people, I'm sure there's a lot of people within AEW right now that are unhappy, severely unhappy, with how AEW is being run. 100%. Absolutely. And they're looking for the opportunity, once their contract comes up, that they can leave and go somewhere else. And plus, you have also, here's the other reason why I know AEW is also in deep shit. You have top free agents, like a Jeff Cobb or a Josh Alexander, which we don't know what Josh Alexander is going to do yet, but there are free agents out there that are really not entertaining the idea of joining AEW. And if you look at someone like Jeff Cobb, who, I would assume predominantly throughout his career, he spent, majority of his career over in New Japan. Well, if you look at AEW, the narrative is that they have a pretty much an exclusive working relationship with New Japan. They've had it now for the past few years. So if I was someone like Jeff Cobb, and knowing how much time you spent with New Japan, and you kind of, created your career in New Japan, but you wanted to, venture out, I would assume that Jeff Cobb would still, would go to AEW with the option of still working with New Japan, because, New Japan really put Jeff Cobb on the map. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And Jeff Cobb seemingly, it seems as if he is actually going over to WWE. So what's that tell you? That tells you that there's not a lot of people that are willing to work with Tony Khan, and they understand that the situation over in AEW right now is just brutal. They're not stupid people, bro. They realize what the fuck is going on. And I mean, there's been multiple people, like even Triple H, man. You know, he put out a comment he was on an interview not too long ago, and he put out a comment out talking about, basically talking about AEW, where anybody can, run a business. Anybody can throw money, at a wrestler. But if you're not willing to invest in that wrestler or invest in storylines, it's not going to mean jack shit. And that's pretty much what he was pretty much saying, kind of beating around the bush about it. But that's pretty much what he meant. And I have to agree with him. I can't say I disagree with him. The fact of the matter is wrestling needs story. And we're not getting it. And, it's getting to a point now where, and I mentioned this even with the past couple AEW Dynamite uploads as of late, that, it's almost as if Tony Khan and the Young Bucks, the guys that helped build this company and created this company, seemingly just don't give a shit about their own company, bro. They're waiting to see this company literally burn burn in ashes and piss on the ashes. To be honest, honestly, it shows on TV, bro. These guys don't give a rat's ass about AEW. They really don't. And it shows, bro. If you look at some of these people that go over to WWE and you see how excited they are to be there, bro, it's almost like a new outlook on life for some of these people. I mean, you look at someone like Penta when he came into WWE, Penta was so fucking excited to be there, bro. And Ray Phoenix was damn near in tears because he was stuck in AEW purgatory where he couldn't do a goddamn thing. And then you look at people like Jade or CM Punk. I mean, they got a whole new outlook on life once they went over to WWE. And look what Triple H and WWE are doing with these talents, bro, that had wrestled for AEW. You look at someone like Cody Rhodes, who is the current Universal Champion, who's one of the best storylines of all professional wrestling with the Bloodline and Roman Reigns. Now he's going to be at WrestleMania this weekend going up against John Cena, where John Cena is trying to, make history and become the 17-time World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, that's a big fucking deal. And then you look at someone like, CM Punk, which I told you guys, CM Punk was Tony Khan's ace in the hole. Tony Khan had full belief that bringing in someone like CM Punk was going to be the guy that, the guy to help AEW take down WWE. And he left. And we saw the fallout of what happened with him and the Young Bucks and the brawl out and what happened between CM Punk and Jack Perry and all that shit, which ultimately got CM Punk pretty much, taken out of AEW. Look what he's doing now, bro. This guy is main eventing night one in WrestleMania, taking on the likes of Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins on WrestleMania night one. I mean, come on, bro. I mean, it's got to be a smack in the fucking face to Tony Khan. It's got to be. And honestly, for what it's worth, it's not even like a reality check to him. It's like, oh yeah, it is what it is. No, bro, like, they're showing you the fact that they can make stars out of these people where you're just dropping the fucking ball. I mean, how many times have you seen Ricky Starks on NXT and you had the fans at NXT saying, here's another person that Tony Khan fumbled again? Yeah. Ricky Starks is a great talent, bro. I mean, honestly, a great talent. And they dropped the fucking ball with Ricky Starks. They had no idea what to do with him. They had no storylines to, put Ricky Starks back in. And then when he was in AEW, the last time we saw Ricky was when he was tag team partners with Big Bill. And they were AEW tag team champions. It was, a while since we've seen Ricky Starks, and everybody was waiting. When the hell are we going to see Ricky? When are we going to see Ricky? We never got a chance to see Ricky Starks again in AEW, and they finally released him, and he joined NXT. So, you had to ask yourself, the question, the narrative. And the narrative is that AEW does not give a shit about their superstars. Tony Khan has a select few superstars on that roster right now that he basically kisses their ass. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tony Khan ultimately is a fanboy of professional wrestling. He's not a boss. And it shows week in and week out. And that's just the name of the game. This guy has all this money. Well, his parents had all this money, his father specifically. And he got some money from his family to help him build a wrestling company. And that's pretty much what happened. So he gets to live out his childhood dream of owning a professional wrestling company. Well, that's fine and dandy. That's great. But your company is fucking failing. Absolutely failing. And people could say, oh, yeah, you keep saying it's failing, but look at the pay-per-view. Bro, the reason why the pay-per-views are getting sold out is because that's the only time that AEW seemingly is putting on decent matches. That's why. There's no storyline around that shit. Look at the fucking week in and week out AEW Dynamite episodes or Collision, bro. They're hardly selling out. And people are barely tuning in. NXT's beaten them in the ratings, I don't know how many weeks now. And technically NXT is WWE's developmental program. You know what I'm saying? Developing superstars to one day make it to the main roster. And NXT's beating the shit out of AEW, where they got well-established stars on that fucking show. You got the best wrestler in the world with Will Ospreay on AEW Dynamite, and NXT Developmental's program is beating them in the ratings. Come on, bro. I mean, I just don't get it. You know, and then it's, like I said earlier, with the situation while we're here, you know, is because of Mariah May. And my thing is with Mariah, she's, you know, so young. She's 26 years old. She has a hell of a lot of time left in her pro wrestling career. Absolutely. And I'm not sitting here saying that she's 100% going over to WWE. I'm just telling you what I heard and the rumors and speculation that she is possibly WWE bound. And if that's the case, it's a huge loss for AEW. It's a huge loss. This woman was probably, if not the best storyline ever for the entire women's roster, and she's ready to, possibly on her way to walk out the fucking door to go to WWE. That's a fucking problem for me. That's a huge problem. And Tony Khan seemingly looks like, you know, oh, yep, might just let her walk out the fucking door. Because we haven't seen her since March 9th at Revolution. Now, I was the first one to say, yeah, Mariah May needs some time off. Absolutely. Absolutely. But how long is that time off going to be? Is Tony Khan going to put her back on television knowing that her contract's coming up? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. We don't know how this is going to play out, but I will say this. If, in fact, Mariah May is on her way out, it's a huge loss for AEW. It is. It's a huge loss. Because at this very moment, I mean, a lot of people are... It's that fast-track shit for people that are in AEW. You know, you look at Mariah May, she was fast-tracked right to Toni Storm, had 3 incredible matches with Toni Storm, and now we haven't seen, you know, Mariah May since March 9th at Revolution, with her contract coming up sometime this summer. You look at someone like Megan Bayne, where Megan Bayne might also be on the fast track where, okay, she faced off against Toni Storm, she lost against Storm, and now where are we going to see Megan Bayne now? Are they really going to push Megan Bayne? I mentioned the same thing about Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight's a great wrestler. They brought him in. Tony Khan, you know, pretty much swept in and stole him like a hawk from NXT and from Shawn Michaels to bring him over to AEW just to, you know, get a good laugh at NXT and Shawn Michaels. Are you actually going to push this guy? You know what I mean? Are you actually going to invest in someone like Kevin Knight and push him as the future of this company? You know what I mean? And that's still yet to be seen at this point. Because right now, do I put faith in Tony Khan to do that? No, I have no faith whatsoever in this company as a whole right now. I don't. And I'll go back to what I said before, bro. I don't know what the fuck happened. But seemingly, for me personally, yes, we had Adam Page and Swerve and everything else, which was a great storyline and a great match between Swerve and Page. Absolutely. For me as a fan of AEW, I think a lot of things with this company had changed after two situations. One, Sting's retirement match, and Adam Page and Swerve. After those two instances that happened, this company has been the drizzling shit since then, bro. I'm going to keep it real. It's just not the same company. You had so many people that have just left this company because they're just not fucking happy to work there. And I've only mentioned a couple of names. You also got to remember Santana. Santana's gone. Santana's doing his own thing, you know, working for House of Glory or working for TNA. He's doing great. You know, you look at other names that were released, you know, that were in AEW at one time. It's just not the same company, bro. It's just not. The tag team division's fucking awful. I mean, there's no real decent challengers right now for Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin for those AEW Tag Team Championships. You had the Acclaimed, who was one of the biggest tag teams in AEW. They're no longer together. Max Caster's doing his own thing, having open challenges, and Anthony Bowens is, you know, having a singles run. Pretty much being managed by Billy Gunn. So, again, the Acclaim's done. You know, you have Private Party, which, I mean, Christ, bro, you look at their title run, it was awful. They hot potatoed that championship right to the Hurt Syndicate. It's just that there is no tag team division. And I said the same thing about when people got pissed off that Penta and Phoenix left. I don't fucking blame them for leaving. What, even if they were stay as the Lucha Bros, bro, what tag team division are they going to compete in? Honestly. Lucha Bros versus the the Outrunners? Come on, bro. I mean, it's just... I don't know what the fuck happened. I really don't. Yeah, you got FTR, but FTR doing their own thing right now with Copeland, and they turn heel, which at this point, seemingly with Copeland, it looks like he will reunite with Christian Cage, which is great. But it's just, where is the direction with this company, man? Honestly. But at the end of the day, like I said, you're going to have people within this company that are going to walk out the fucking door. And then you have, like I said, when it pertains to Mariah May, you have AEW officials stating that Mariah May could very well be on the way over to WWE. So what's that tell you? People within the company genuinely believe that Mariah May is heading over to WWE. You know what I'm saying? Would I be surprised that she left? No. Would I be pissed off with AEW and Tony Khan? Yeah, I would be. Because you're letting someone like that go. Do I blame her for leaving? No, I don't. But it's got to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of AEW fans to see someone like Mariah May and what she did with Tony Storm to walk away from AEW and be done. Now, where she goes in WWE, I don't know. Is she main roster bound, or does she go to NXT? To be honest with you, with someone like Mariah May, I'd put her right over to NXT. I would have some call-ups from the current roster right now on NXT, and I'd bring in someone like Mariah May and have her run roughshod on the female roster over in NXT. Absolutely. The same thing they're doing right now with Ricky Starks. Absolutely. And let her build up her craft. She's still very young. She's 26 years old. Let her have a couple years in NXT, and then right to the main roster. Done deal. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, man. I just don't get it. And my thing is, and I'll go back to what I've been saying about AEW, ever since they signed that TV deal with Time Warner, Tony Khan and AEW, and even the Young Bucks, they don't give a shit, man. These guys don't give a shit as long as money is lining their pockets. They don't give a fuck about this company. They just don't. I mean, at the end of the day, it's blatant. I mean, it's right in front of your face. And even the AEW sickos are like, oh, no, let it play out, bro. No. I said the same thing about the goddamn Death Rider situation. Everybody's, let it marinate, let it play out. Bro, that shit with the Death Riders have been literally marinating and playing out for the past 6 to 7 months. And ironically, and I'm honestly, at this point, hats off to me, I'm correct, Jon Moxley is going to hold this title leading into All In July. So Jon Moxley will be holding that title entirely for 9 fucking months. 9 months, and it's been pretty much that entire time that we actually haven't seen the AEW title on television. That title's been pretty much locked away in a fucking briefcase. We don't even know if the title still exists. It might be fucking dust by now. You know what I'm saying? Like, where is it? And my thing is, there's even, rumors that, small rumors that Jon Moxley, even at All In, still might walk out as AEW champion. Can you believe that shit? I mean, come on, bro. Like, I don't understand it with this company. I really don't. I really, really don't. And honestly, for what it's worth, the guy that built this company is ultimately the guy that's killing his company. And that's Tony Khan. The guy is delusional. The guy has no... read the fucking room, bro. You don't know, what the fuck are you doing? And people are like, oh, give it a chance. No, bro, no. This company is not a year old. This company's been in existence for 5 fucking years. I mean, they're already hyping up this week with the AEW Spring Break or whatever the hell it is that, oh, yeah, we surpassed the, one of the best shows or longest rating shows on TBS or TNT and beating Nitro and all this other bullshit and Thunder and all this shit. Okay, fine. But if you look at the narrative, what makes you better than Nitro or Thunder, bro? You're putting on fucking AEW shows that have a lot of resemblance to what WCW was doing in 2000. You know what I'm saying? How much better really is it? You're hype. It's like you're trying to hype up, a piece of shit, really. I mean, honestly. Oh yeah, we've been on TBS and TNT for quite some time now, and we beat out Nitro and Thunder. Who gives a rat's ass? Honestly. That's what you're worried about? I'll give you guys a prime example, bro, how delusional this fucking company is. With all this shit that's going on right now in AEW, from talent being disgruntled with the company, free agents coming up, contracts coming up, you have Tony Khan telling people that, okay, AEW wants to focus on an AEW app. Bro, what? Wait, for me, as a fan, we're still waiting on what the fuck is going on with HBO Max. You were hyping that shit up. What was it, 4, 5, 6 months ago? Oh, yeah, we'll have our pay-per-views on Max at a discounted rate. But then after that, we get, okay, now AEW is working with Amazon Prime. What the fuck are we doing? You want to talk about something that's ass backwards? It's AEW. Literally. What are we doing? The business model of this company is literally dog shit. It is, man. I just, I don't get it. I don't get it. At the end of the day, the reason why I'm here today is to talk about Mariah May. And my thing is, like I told you guys before, Mariah May walking out of the doors of AEW is crazy. Do I blame her for leaving? Absolutely fucking not. No, I do not. And shame on Tony Khan for letting someone like that, a talent that caliber, to walk out the fucking door. Shame on Tony Khan for that. Because I'm telling you right now, bro, you can build a women's roster around someone like Mariah May. She's a total package. She really is. She's good on the microphone. She's great in the ring. She has great promos. You couldn't ask for a better wrestler than Mariah May. And again, I give all the credit for the world to Toni Storm as well. Toni Storm really made a superstar out of Mariah May. And it really, honestly, it also intensified what Toni Storm was. You know what I mean? With the timeless Toni Storm character and everything else. And Toni Storm is probably one of the best things right now that AEW has going right now. You know what I mean? And those matches those girls had were phenomenal. That Hollywood ending match was great. Absolutely great. But, you know, it does beg the question, what's next for Mariah May? Even in AEW at this point, what is next for Mariah May? Because right now, they don't even know what's next for Toni Storm at this point. We have the Owen Hart Cup tournament where the winner of that tournament will face off against Toni Storm in All In, but it's still a mix-up. It could be Jamie Hayter. It could be Athena. It could be Mercedes Moné. We don't know. We have no idea. You know, so again, it's... I don't know, man. It's mind-blowing to realize, like, yeah, she might be on her way out. And you have AEW officials even stating themselves, saying that, you know, yeah, there's been a lot of, you know, fingers pointed that Mariah May might be heading over to WWE. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I would have been all for Mariah May anything that I could. Money, creative control, put her in a solid match, put her in decent story. Absolutely. Because you don't let someone like that go. You just don't. You just don't. And the funny thing is if you look at the narrative of AEW, man, a lot of what AEW is now, currently, a lot of it is just former WWE talent, bro. You look at the Hurt Syndicate. I mean, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, they're former WWE talent. Jon Moxley, the current AEW champion, former WWE talent. You know what I mean? Right now, TNT champion, former WWE talent, Adam Cole. You know, Toni Storm, current AEW Women's Champion, former WWE talent. Mercedes Moné, the current TBS champion, former WWE talent. That's my point, bro. They don't want to invest in homegrown talent for AEW. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Look at the fucking champions for the company, bro. They're all former WWE talents at some time. Mercedes Moné, also known as Sasha Banks, a great wrestler for WWE. Jon Moxley, former Dean Ambrose, former member of The Shield, current AEW World Champion, former member, you know, also used to work for WWE. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, used to work for WWE as a Hurt Business. You know what I mean? Toni Storm used to work in NXT. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello. Adam Cole, former NXT talent, former NXT World Champion, former WWE talent, Undisputed Era, and what he did in NXT. Because at the end of the day, Tony Khan does not have faith in the actual originals of AEW. He just does not. And at the end of the day, Tony Khan has a fixation with WWE. He does. You can't tell me that he doesn't. And why I could say that? Because, again, look at their champions, bro. Majority of them are all former WWE talents at some point. You know what I mean? You're not invested in someone like an Adam Page. Yeah, Kenny Omega's international champion. And the reason why he is because Tony Khan wants to have a match between Okada and Omega under the AEW umbrella. That's why that is. That's the only reason why that is the way it is. You know what I mean? You're not invested in someone like Adam Page. You're not really invested in some people like the Young Bucks. You're not invested really in MJF, Darby Allin, Daniel Garcia. You know what I mean? Chris Statlander. You're not really invested in some of these talents that have been there since day fucking one for AEW. Meanwhile, you bring in former WWE talent and you bring out the red carpet for these talents. Where the guys, you know, the men and women that have been there since day one, they get shit on for it. So, I mean, if you were an AEW, like, original, and you see all this WWE talent coming in and getting the red carpet and getting these title opportunities and all this and the TV time, you don't think that's not going to piss you off to no end, knowing the fact that you've been there since day one, and then you got this, you know, WWE talent that's coming in, fresh from WWE, coming into AEW, and you're giving them the red carpet treatment? Yeah, it's going to piss off that talent. I'd be fuming pissed. Absolutely. Because you don't know how to build younger stars, and clearly you don't give a shit about your current AEW roster. You just don't. You care about the people, the men and women that you bring in from WWE, just to shove it back in WWE's face as if it's working when it's not. You know what I mean? It's just not. And like I said, man, at the end of the day with AEW, it's just, with Mariah May and the possibility of her leaving, it's a huge deal. It's a gut punch for AEW, and to see someone the caliber of talent that Mariah May is, see her walking out the door of AEW, possibly to WWE, I mean, it's got to be at some point a wake-up call to the fans to make them realize that obviously shit in AEW is not working. AEW is not what it once was at one point, and you're going to see a lot more talent in AEW leave and go over to WWE. And it's going to get to a point where, like I said, man, certain talents end up leaving AEW. It's a severe gut punch to a point where there's a possibility AEW might not actually recover from it, and it might be over. Where AEW, unfortunately, might have to close up shop and close doors, and the whole vision of AEW is no more. And AEW is gone. And hopefully people do realize this, bro. Hopefully, even with this rumors, it opens people's eyes up, man. It makes them realize that, yes, something's going on with this company. And if they keep losing top stars to the competitor, to WWE, not a lot of people are going to be wanting to tune into AEW anymore because their favorite wrestler is now wrestling over for WWE. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm calling it, bro. The day that MJF leaves AEW might be the gut punch that, at AEW and Tony Khan can't, come back from. And AEW might end up being in deeper shit that they're in now. And it might be a point where it's, there's no return for AEW. And that's the end-all, be-all. But, again, man, I just wanted to come on here to talk about Mariah May. And like I mentioned earlier, it does seem as if Mariah May might possibly be on her way out of AEW and making her way over to WWE, as has been reported from AEW officials and other people around the wrestling community. It seemingly seems as if that Mariah May might be on her way out. It might be on her way over to WWE. So again, this is some news I wanted to break down to you guys and my thoughts on it, and where I see what's going on with AEW, and kind of give my opinion about the matter as far as Mariah May is concerned in AEW as a whole. So like I said, man, there's going to be a lot more news and rumors coming out this week. Obviously, WrestleMania is happening this weekend. I always have a Dynamite review as well, especially with Friday Night SmackDown as well. So, like I said, man, I'm going to try to keep you guys up to date with all the news and rumors and speculation that's going on, especially with AEW and especially leading up to this weekend's WrestleMania. And if I have any more news and rumors for you guys, I will definitely let you guys know. But like I said, man, this is my news and rumors of the day, especially for AEW. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember,